here's our intro.
This is it, people. You're gonna either love it or leave it, which is fine.
Yeah.
If we're not your cup of tea,
That's A-okay with me.
yep, we'll
'Cause-
figure.
We did it. We're officially recording our first podcast episode ever together.
Hey.
Okay, so I am Leslie, and I met Lauren. We just did the math 4 years ago at a splash pad in Grapevine. She was like, no, you were like 6 months pregnant, yeah?
No, probably more than that.
I think you were due the day we met, actually, and you just were like,
it was August. I was a whale. I was a whale.
You were miserable. No, we met, I think, like a week beforehand or a month before, and then we met again there a couple of times because you're like, I have to get out of the house. Like, I need additional hands.
I need someone else to chase my children for me.
Yes. Which, hey, my kids were their top dog children chasers. And you have, how many kids do you have?
5.
What are they?
So we have Judah, who's 11.
Mm-hmm.
Levi, who is 9, will be 10 in April, so he would want that to be known.
Yes, it's a very important fact. He's almost 10.
Almost 10. Zealand is 8. Emerson is 6. And then Finley is 3.5. And
he was a surprise.
A very big surprise in so many ways.
Yeah, all the ways.
All of the ways.
All the boys were born pretty close together, besides him and Zealand.
Emerson. Yeah.
Emerson.
Well, Finley and Emerson. Yeah, because we found I had always had a baby in my arms by the 2nd birthday. And we got to Emerson's 2nd birthday, and I was like, babe, there's no baby.
Check us out.
And I'm not even pregnant. And within a week of that, we found out we were pregnant.
Oh, bless it.
Yeah, I was like, spoke too soon on a girls' trip. My best friend's 30th birthday in Colorado. Took a test because I was like, I'm late. And I should probably do this before I start drinking.
Yeah, probably just
And
for safety. Oh my gosh.
I was like,
That's how Jason's pregnancy test went. I was like a week late. I'd been on medication for a UTI that turned into a bladder infection, or a bladder infection that turned into a kidney infection. It's like it worked its way up the body.
Yep.
And no one really told you, like, don't take your birth control and antibiotics.
Yeah.
And be extra careful.
They don't tell you anything when they put you on birth control. They're just like, here, have pills.
Yeah. And so I felt good one day, and we were newlyweds, and so Jeff even said that night, if you weren't on birth control, I would have just got you pregnant. And I was like, bro, there's no way. And then, so our anniversary was in the end of November, and I found out on my best friend's birthday, December 2nd. I found out, and I took the test at night, and I did like all the things wrong. Like, took it at night. I drank orange juice to go pee. I don't know. It was like, that was the thing when I was testing. Don't drink orange juice when you take it. I don't know why. And like immediate positive. I was like, oh, we literally have $0 to our name right now. And now we have a baby. Okay, Lord, like, haha, we're just going to trust you with this one. He's wild. He's insane. And he wrecked a lot of things for us, but.
Yeah, they all bring their own unique thing.
Yeah, they're,
Did it 5 times.
Reign of terror.
5 boys, and they all literally have brought their own refining element.
Yeah, sanctification's the church word that we like to use around here.
Yeah.
It's a sanctifying trait for the people around you. It's like, I'm not going to tell you that I hate you, but my like for you is such diminishing.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you, but I don't like you right now.
Yes.
What movie is that off of? It's some like chick flick.
Yes.
Oh, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Yes. I love you, but I don't like you.
I like you. Yeah.
Yes. My mom used to tell us that you don't have to like him, but you have to love him. About my sibling, my brother.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, fine. I don't like you, just so you know. I really don't like you at all.
Yeah, I really don't.
Oh my gosh. So, we're going to talk about anxiety, which is a super fun topic to talk about because I think everyone's talking about it, but feel like not everyone's talking about like how to not be a victim to it.
Yeah.
And like own it and move past it. And that's kind of where I'm at in my life. It's like, I don't really want to be a prisoner to this. Like, I have anxiety, and that's literally like one small piece of
who I
me.
am.
Yeah, like it's not going to define my day-to-day behaviors. It does some days. Legit,
for sure.
Other days it's like, okay, I'm feeling a little jittery. Probably not to not have sugar.
Yeah. Or the 5th cup of coffee.
Yeah. Or mine is the second energy drink. Mine's always the midday energy drink that brings the waking panic attacks. I'm like, why did I? Oh, yeah. Whoops. Shame on me.
Bad. Yeah.
I actually had a friend call the other night, and we were talking about like anxiety and intrusive thoughts and how to get rid of them. And I was like, you can't. Which isn't great advice to give someone who's in the process of like dealing with a really horrible intrusive thought about like harming people she loves. But in her actual entirety, she would never do that.
Yeah.
Which is what was like, I was like, you can't get rid of it. You just have to own that you have it and then
move through it.
Move and like let your brain see how take the ride with your thought. And she like, it really made her like sick to her stomach to even think that she could think this thought.
Yeah.
Well, I've had horrible thoughts, and then you just think them, and your brain's like, "Yeah, we're not actually. That's so dumb. I'm not actually going to do that." But I feel bad because there's like this idea that you can just get rid of stuff, or you can just
if you think the right things, or pray the right prayer, or take the right supplement,
like
it'll all magically
go away,
heal itself.
And I've never experienced that. If people have experienced that, that's fantastic. That's not anything that I've ever, like, I've never not had anxiety. I think I started getting anxiety in like middle school, and sorry, my earring is hitting my headphone, and then it's like rattling, which I don't think you can hear it, but I can hear it.
But that's annoying for you.
Yeah. I started having panic attacks in high school after my grandma died.
Yeah.
And I was raped right after she died, and then in an abusive relationship. And so I had panic attacks because of that. But the timing was that it was after she died. And so the school, because I was not about to tell them what had happened with the boyfriend. So the school thought it was like this death
trauma
based thing. And at that time, my parents didn't know. So it's like, I had to kind of like pretend like it was my grandma's death. And I'm like, no, it's like legitimately something completely different.
Right, yeah.
That I didn't work through originally. I've since worked through it. And it's funny to look back at the person I was afraid of. I'm like, you are literally a small rat that I was afraid of. Like, I was like 6 inches taller than my boyfriend, and I was terrified of him. Like, but the nature of our relationship was scary. So I get why, but I look back and think like, me, like grown up me, is like, come on, girl, you gotta.
Yeah, come on, sweetie. Come on.
Which, I wish we could talk to our past selves sometimes.
Yeah, that definitely. And honestly, I've done it. Like, I've gone like in therapy sessions, or like, I realize it's not quite the same, but it's one of those. It helps with the anxiety. It helps with the like, okay, I see that you did the best you could in that season, and I honor that. But it's time to move, like, forward and past and continue walking forward.
Yes.
Because, I mean, different trauma stuff for me where like I get mad at how I should have handled it differently, or I look at it now, just kind of like you were saying, like, why, younger you, or you scared of this? Why did I choose to cope in the ways that I chose to cope?
Yeah.
And, looking back, I'm like, okay, I see why. I can honor that, but I can now stand up and be a different human.
Yes.
And like, so, yeah.
It's like I like the analogy of the Russian nesting dolls. Like how the smaller one is like the more condensed version. It's like as we grow, like we build these like shells, and it's this weird, but I like thinking backwards.
Yeah.
Like we're like these little pieces that all fit into this bigger one that we were designed to be. And so it's like these little pieces have to happen.
Yeah, we have
to fill the whole being up.
Yeah. I like that.
So, yeah. I mean, it's like opposite of that, but I don't know what you would call that. So.
No, but I follow. I'm tracking.
Yeah. So I think that it's neat that there are places that are like like our church is facilitating a fear and anxiety group, and so we're reading a book together and like talking through fear and anxiety and fear of man and fear of perfectionism and fear of, I think there's a couple. I brought the book in here because it's really good. This is it.
Okay, nice.
It's really good.
It was overcoming what?
Sorry, the youngest person just came in and told me she had to pee, and this is our closest bathroom. Overcoming fear, worry, and anxiety.
Okay. Nice.
Thankfully, we have a bathroom that she'll be fine. We're good. Yeah, it's fear, worry, and anxiety, and we've talked about like perfectionism and fear of man. That's my big one. Is fear of man, not like my ex-boyfriend. I was afraid. I was fearful of him, but now I'm
their thoughts or how they'll perceive you.
Yes, like how am I good enough? Is my outfit nice enough? Did I say the right things? And I overthink, and then which is a really funny thing because my husband doesn't have those issues. Like, he cares about what people think, but if he tripped in a public setting, he'd be like, "Wow, that sucked." Okay. If I tripped in a public setting, I'd be like, "What are they going to say about me for the next, 500 years?"
Yep.
Because you're good. I love you, but I'm recording, so go. Goodbye. She has slime and sanitizer on her hands. So.
Perfect. Yeah. This last summer, we went to the Texas Bowl for the Deaf for a family weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And I literally laid in bed the second morning, or on the floor in a cot the second morning, overthinking every encounter and interaction I'd had the day before.
Yeah.
Did I say the wrong thing here? Did I do the wrong thing here? How did this look? I mean, we're talking a good 90 minutes before anyone else was awake.
Yeah.
And the next morning I was talking to my husband. He was like, "Wait, what? You did what all morning?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you didn't think about anything?" And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "What is that like? Like,
can I try that for one day?"
Yeah. You mean when I say, "What are you thinking?" You say nothing. You mean nothing?
Yeah, I'm literally thinking of nothing. My brain is like, all right, you got to vacuum. You got to do this. And remember that one time you said something at that place?
Yeah.
What do you think they are thinking about you right now? And it's like, what? Why did I go there? Yeah. We went through a program called Reengage, and I talked about how I get really anxious going to events. And during this class, the Reengage program at our church. So Reengage is put on by Watermark, but Christ Chapel, where we attend, you can get it as a resource. And then we have like a class. And so during that, I think they talk about things. I don't remember what exactly came up, but I had an event that I had to go to on like a Thursday night, and the class is on Wednesday. And I remember telling everyone, like, I'm really anxious to go. Well, the next week, I'd because the goal of a lot of these classes that I take are about like getting inside your own, like inside your hula hoop, dealing with yourself, your relationship with the Lord, what your activities need to be. And so we, sorry, everyone is coming in here. My dog just came in here. She just has a problem about being alone. I'm not going to get up again. So I just text to go come shut our door. But I remember telling the group that night that the night of the event, I had like a panic attack getting ready. And Jeff was like, why? Like, why do you don't go then? I was like, no, I want to go. He's like, well, why are you having a panic attack? And I said, what if they're all there conspiring to tell me that they don't want me to be a part of their group anymore?
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, he's like, you realize how selfish you sound? Like that these people put on an event for the whole school to tell you they don't like you. And I was like, well, yeah, but he's like, and also, if they did put all that energy into it, you don't want to be a part of that group. So leave. If that happens, leave. Take the kids and we will find somewhere else to be. And it obviously didn't happen because that's like the most asinine thought to have. But every time I go to a big function, I'm like, I bet you these people are putting this on so that they can tell me as a group, none of us like you. Yeah. And it's like, what? How selfish. Like I had to recognize how like self-centered.
Yeah, I kind of love that, like, I don't know, the boldness of just be like, okay, you that important? Cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's not that I'm not important, but it's that I don't take up that much space in any of those people's lives.
Right. And that's not like a negative at all.
No.
But like, it's just, it was like, yeah, like, oh, you're that important.
Yeah.
I know there's stuff like in different relationships I've had where I'm like, well, what if this happens? Or what if, and it's like, oh, so you are the end all be all for that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't do this, then maybe they're going to think this. Yeah. And it's like, oh, so you're the, like, when I realized I'm actually not the savior of everything.
Yeah.
That's
Messiah like a freedom.
Complex. And I didn't even realize I had it for so long. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's like, there are some relationships that you like for us, the podcast that we met through was like the common thread, but that thread quickly unraveled and it wasn't a core, it wasn't like a piece that we needed to continue our friendship. No. We were able to continue our friendship very well with freedom from that set of friends. But I have been like the common thread in some friendships, but it's just because I'm friends with one person at this place, and then I met someone else at the same place, and it's like, okay, well, I want to hang out with both of you, so y'all guys can just hang out together.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that it's like I'm the savior of their. It's just one of those friendships has since ended, but I've stayed friends with the other one, and he's like, I don't really talk to them because we just worked together at that point.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. But it was weird because I'm like, oh no, did I ruin your friendship? He's like, no, not even a little bit. It just ended naturally. Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, it's funny to free yourself of those kinds of thoughts, because then when you don't have them anymore, you're like, oh man, that's amazing.
Right?
I don't have to be like, there's no pressure on me. Like if I mess this up, okay. Yep. It was too fragile for me to sustain.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like, it's interesting because one of the things I've learned a lot in the last couple of years has been friendship based, of like thinking, you know, I used to try to always like hold on to things longer than I needed to. When like clearly the person is like, I'm done. Like, no, are you sure? Like, don't you still want to be my friend? Don't you really like me? Yes. And they just, because there's that slow fade that happens.
Yeah.
And then some that are a little more like abrupt and aggressive, but then you want to like go clean up the mess. And I've learned, like, you know what? Mm-hmm. Like, bless and release, because
I
have knocking. Yes. I don't. You can go call, like, I don't. I'll be out in a few minutes. By a few minutes, I mean, I don't know when, but.
This is why I love it, because I'm like, I don't really want to edit that out. Because it's like, one, I don't know how to yet, and I'm going to learn. But two, I feel like that takes away from, like, the reality that what this is. Like, it's conversation. It's going to get interrupted. Like, when I was waiting for the call, Laurel comes in with tears. Well, she's got a stuffy nose. And I'm like, you came in like you had just barfed on the floor. Like, you looked petrified. And she got slime all over her bluey nightgown, which is like her favorite nightgown. It's super soft. And also it's her new slime. And she was like, and she was coming to me because that's not a daddy thing. That's a
mom.
It's a mom thing. And so I was like, okay, please don't come back in here unless your bones are sticking out. And then even then go to your dad.
Right? Yeah.
She's like, okay. But it's like, that's the nature of our friendship, our lives. It's not I don't have an office. I contemplated going and getting a common workspace and paying, $75 an hour. And I'm like, $75 an hour? That's ludicrous. Like, if I worked for a company that was reimbursing me, cool.
Cool, but no.
I'm not. I'm using my dirty laundry hamper as a desk.
Hey, it works. That's the reality of motherhood and wanting to branch out and do something different.
Yeah, it's when I told Jeff the other day, this is the kind of relationship we have. I told him, I was like, I really do want this to take off. Like, I want our dynamic to work. I want the genuine, vulnerable, raw, unedited kind of thing to become like not a gold standard, but Jeff was
normal.
He's like, you can say gold standard. Like, he's like, it's smooth-brained to not want what you're doing to be the best and to like be the new thing. And I was like, oh, you called me smooth-brained. Like, how rude. But it's true. It's like, I look at YouTubers or whatever, and I see them have like everything set up. But if you go look back, it's like,
oh yeah,
it's not all set up. They worked and grew their way into this final product that I see.
I mean, that's
like, okay. Starting with everything. The final product in mind is like we were talking about. Like, what does the intro look like? I don't know.
Yep.
Look, here's our intro.
This is it, people. You're gonna either love it or leave it, which is fine.
Yeah.
If we're not your cup of tea,
that's A-okay with me.
Yep. We'll figure it out.
I would rather listen to two friends. It feels like eavesdropping.
Right? Which is kind of...
But we're like asking you to eavesdrop.
Right, yeah. We give you permission.
This is permissible eavesdropping.
But that's like every teenage girl's, I mean, back in our day.
No, it's still... I served with middle school. It is still their thing.
It's still their thing.
It is still their thing. And sometimes they're like, what are you saying? I can't hear you. It's like, it was not a conversation meant for you. Yeah. Well, I was already listening, so can you just tell me the rest?
Can you just finish it off for me? And that's why I loved like the Dear America series of books when I was a kid. It was like the diary entries of like settlers or like different time period.
Yes.
Like give me the diaries.
It felt like it was you were not supposed to be drinking this or drinking this. I was thinking tea.
But
I now
consuming reading.
What do you need, little person? They turned the knob and then ran away.
They're like, oh crap, let's do that.
Yes, go to dad. Go to dad.
Code red.
Yes. Well, I feel like there's a lot we could cover on anxiety. What are like when we talked about freeing ourselves from thoughts that like we're the savior of a relationship, or that people hate us so much that they're throwing parties to tell us. What are some things that you do that help you like regularly, and then what are some things that you like are trying to work on or figure out like a system that you can put into play to help catch when you're getting
in those loops, because they are typically loops. So one thing I have learned for me is physically I suck at like, I don't know, hydrating, consuming food or like food that's actually beneficial for my body. And those kinds of things. And when you have 5 kids back to back, they steal all the nutrients. Like I'm still nursing my youngest. Now he's not getting a lot, but like that means I have had someone taking stuff from my body for over 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, and before that, like I had a 3-month break between nursing and getting pregnant with him. And so I've literally gone 12 years probably.
Yeah.
And so making sure I have nutrients and not just coffee.
And like nutrient dense food, not just like
like I ate a cracker.
Pies and
No, but like we made homemade beef jerky recently, like high protein, high fat.
Yes.
Like actually fuels my brain.
Yes.
Stuff.
Yes.
Because I learned like there are days where I'm like, I just need a glass of water. Like the other day I was like, hey, child, I can tell that I want to scream right now. So can you go get me a glass of water? And I sat there and I did like intentional breathing and sipped my water. And no longer did I want to yell at my child, but I could actually like talk to them.
Yeah.
And so that's been one major like thing. And then there's like rescue remedy, and I used frankincense for a long time under my tongue.
Okay.
Tastes really gross.
I was gonna say that smells good, but I can imagine that it tastes awful.
Tastes real intense.
Yeah.
But this was closer to postpartum times.
Okay.
But like I would go from like anxious to like seeing, I called it seeing red, or just like that blind rage almost.
Yep.
And it would take me from blind rage to being able to like think.
Okay.
And so I would do that. Now I have enough relationship with my like my mind, my
Your
brain
mind.
or mind.
Yeah.
Either way.
Your mind.
My mind. That I can actually catch thoughts, because in those seasons of life I couldn't catch what it was.
Yeah.
It was
like catch the trigger.
Yeah. It was such a physiological thing that like my mind was not a part of it.
Yes. It's true though, because your brain and your mind sometimes they're not the same thing.
Yeah.
Like and so in that moment it would be a mind.
Yeah, a mind thing. And so now I have greater control, but it's been years of self-reflection, of like paying attention, actually seeking out what root causes are, not in the moment, but at other times.
Yep. Revisiting that trigger or that blind, that whatever it was.
Yeah. That I can usually catch it in the moment and go, okay, heart, what do you need? Or what is it that's causing? And I try to speak to that thing.
Yeah.
There's times when it's like kid issues and I'm scared I'm screwing them up at such a high rate, of like, what if I just botch them?
Yeah.
And they are ruined because of my flip out or my lack of whatever.
Yeah.
And so in those moments I go, okay, like, one, we know that's not true. Two, how can I connect with them right now? Because if my fear is that, then what can I do? So like recently, one of my kids was having a hard time, and I wanted another cup of coffee, and I was like, how about you and I go have special drinks on my bed? That's amazing. So I grabbed a coffee, made a hot chocolate. We went and sat on the bed and talked on and off for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of like nothing, and me saying how much I liked them and what I liked about them.
Yes.
And the repeated like quiet, and then the kid breaking the silence with, and I love you, mommy. And I'm like, I love you too, buddy. And
and it wasn't excluding the olders or the young. It was just in this moment, who was needing you most was
and who I felt most disconnected with or met.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if that's my concern, then how can I remedy it?
Yeah.
And so that's what I've started to do, is like I try to acknowledge what it is I'm concerned about, and then what's one thing I can do to like make that a different thing. Because whether or not they fully learn all of the educational stuff or all whatever, if they can walk away from my home knowing that they're loved, knowing who they are, and being confident in who they are, nothing else really
there's a lot of things they can pick up in life that I think that's part of the homeschool journey that we just started on recently. Was I had a friend tell me who God created them to be, the role that they play, and then their function in the family, and then we do school. And she's like, these are the three main things that we want our kids to leave the house knowing. And it's like, wow, that's intense, but it's like goes back to what you're saying. It's like the one you're feeling disconnected with. It's like they probably were feeling disconnected as well and needing that 15 minutes. We actually stole something from you guys when you were moving from Elyse. Did you move from Elyse?
It was Richland Hills. It's that area. It's the big cities.
So when you were moving from mid cities out to Dallas or past Dallas, I was at your house and you had that giant metal bowl. Do you remember what you had in there?
No.
Popslop.
Oh, yeah.
So all of our neighbors out here know about Popslop because like midday, they'd be like, Mom, can we have Popslop? And our neighbors would be like, what is that? And I'm like, my friend who has 5 boys, like, just dumps all the chips and popcorn in a bowl and they eat it. And they're like, well, now I want it. So we've actually taken like Popslop kits to our neighbors with like their favorite candy.
Yep.
And it's just like, we've only done it a few times. And popcorn ended up like becoming an issue in our home where we're like, really, it's not like sitting super well with us.
Yep.
But Jason's like, well, can we have chip slop? And for a while I would go and sit with them like midday.
Yep.
We'd all have a snack. And at that time it was like COVID. There was, our schedules were all cleared.
Yep.
And I feel like that was when I was the most connected to them. But I was also in probably the worst state I had been in a while. So it's funny because it's like, what are the things that I was doing that were working that I quit doing? Because my brain is like, hey, this is working really well, so we don't need to do it anymore.
Right.
Because it's working. Like, everything's good now that you did this. And then it's like, oh, crap, what was I doing that was working that I quit doing? And that's one of them is like the midday snacks and the show with them together.
Yep. I love that you made it a show. Like,
yeah, like,
because so many parents are like, I need to like do a craft or have conversations or a read aloud, which are all great things.
Those are great options.
But like sometimes I've learned like if I just sit down and actually watch an episode of Phineas and Ferb with them.
Yes.
Like,
dude, they feel so like, Mom watched that show with us.
Yeah.
This is like, they'll be like, can you watch this with me? I'm like, I don't want to.
Yep.
I don't want to. And so then it becomes this thing where I'm being selfish and it's like last night I wanted to watch something and they didn't want to, and I was like, well, then I'm not watching TV. And I got up and I was like, wow, how old are you? Like, you're 30, almost 35 years old. Like, you straight up threw a tantrum because they were bored with, and it's like, okay, but I didn't want to watch it, so I needed to go do something else.
Yeah.
It was like a weird, and neither one of them even like flinched. They were like, okay, bye.
Yeah, peace out. Whatever.
We want to watch it, so it means you leave. Great. But they're older. They're at that age where they're,
Yeah.
When I sit with them, they're kind of like, oh, that's nice. Can you go away?
Yep. No, my oldest learned that I liked Phineas and Ferb compared to other things. So if he wants to watch TV, he'll specifically ask for that show because he realizes I'm more inclined to say yes.
Yes.
Versus like some other shows that I'm like, no, it's stupid.
Yes. Well, they're quick learners. They figure it out. Like, oh, Mom didn't mind this one. Let's watch that.
Yep.
So that's funny. We didn't even do an introduction on who you are and who I am for your people. So
okay, you want to like do that now and splice it, and you can use.
Or we could just do your intro at the end, and outro. It's all backwards.
Yeah,
I'm good either way.
Currently, we've been recording for an hour. Is that right? Or is
no, we've been on here for an hour. Okay. We've been recording for 33 minutes.
I was like, how is that possible?
No. I know, I was looking and I was like, dang, we've been talking for an hour. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't mind. I think like 30 minutes is a long episode, but we have to like get the format going before we can say like it's a 15-minute episode.
Yeah.
So this one is just going to be longer, and I think that'll be fine. Okay, Mrs. Miller, Garage. It's not actually what you go by.
Not even a little bit. It's such a lovely little thing, though, on my face.
I know. It's cute.
It's okay. Yeah.
So, who are you? We talked about how we met. We met through a podcast that I'm not going to badmouth them.
Nope.
They did marriage stuff, and at the time, it was exactly what I needed to hear. And they were exactly the people I needed in my life. They taught me a ton of things. Mm-hmm. The fallout was a silent fallout for me, which created a real resilience to like not continue begging people to be in my life.
Yep.
Which was like, it had happened. It's happened a couple times since then. And I'm like, you know what, dude? I really hope you're okay.
Yep.
And that I'm not going to beg you to let me be a part of your life or to be a part of mine, because you went like, you go radio silent. My best friend goes radio silent, but it's like, it's not like I'm literally never talking to you again. It's like, I'm literally drowning.
Yeah,
like
I'm drowning. I'm busy. I'll catch you on the flip side.
Yeah, like I texted my best friend the other day and I was like, "Are we friends?" And she said yes. And I was like, "Okay, I love you, bye." Like that.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to her since then. Like,
Yep.
but I don't need to.
Yeah.
Like I know if I actually need her or I'm in her state, we'll meet up. But this was like a silent, no more, deafening silence, which creates a resilience for people like me who are like, I need to talk to my people all the time, and it kind of helped me put that gap. So that's how we met, and then we met because we were one of 3 people in Texas who knew who they were because they were a coastal-based podcast. Which I still can like claim that I've met my favorite band thanks to them. So that's like a pretty big deal.
That is a pretty big deal. Say it was one of my friends' favorite bands in high school. I was never a music person. But I was like, whenever I realized who they were, I was like, oh, Stacy. Guess who I met?
Yes. You're that one friend to be jealous, like, to make jealous. Yeah. I was talking to my friend the other day and I was like, oh yeah, I've met the whole band. And he was like, what? How did that happen? I was like, it's like a real weird thing. It's a real weird
story. Yeah.
But I met them. They're pretty cool. You know, middle-aged men at this point.
Yep. Kind of. Yeah. Because we're getting closer to that whole middle age.
Yeah. You know what?
We need to talk about that though.
It's young. Yeah. We're young. We're good. We're cool.
Good. Yeah. I'm not sure cool is the right word.
I actually don't think I want to be cool.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think I was cool back in the day either.
No, I wasn't for sure. I can guarantee that I wasn't cool. I reconnected with a popular girl after high school a couple years ago, and we were talking, and she's like, I just need like a friend. It was a really weird thing, and we've since like not falling out. She moved to the other side of Tarrant County, and I moved to the other side of Parker County, and it's not something we kept up with. And she told me the first time we hung out, she goes, I don't even remember going to school with you. Like, I was like, I think that's probably the most accurate way anyone could describe it. I don't even remember going to school with you.
Yeah, so my favorite moment was, oh, you're Kyle's girlfriend's friend. I'm like, yep, that's
what a claim to fame.
Yeah, not only
shout out to Kyle.
Right? Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So not only I'm not my own person, I'm not even my best friend's person. I'm her boyfriend's person.
Yes. You're her boyfriend's person's person.
Exactly.
You're quite removed.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was me in high school.
I love it. But the funny thing is, like, who cares? Like, those are formative years, but like they hold no weight in like reality.
Nope.
As adulthood, and I wish that was something that I could have understood then.
Yeah.
And just gone after it all. Like, just chased every dream, because it's like, who freaking cares, dude? Like.
Yeah. Well, we're learning it now. We're chasing our dreams now.
Yeah, and that's cool because we have a little bit more money than we did in high school.
Right? I don't know.
We also have kids, so less time. Some funding.
Yeah, a lot of the funding goes to the kids.
Yeah.
So.
Jeez Louise. That's okay though. It's like we can pretend like it's our second high school.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't
want to go back to high school.
I redact that.
Yeah, people talk about like going back to their 20s even. I'm like, no.
I had both my kids in my 20s. And I had, oh man, that's another episode. 20s were not the years for me.
Maybe we should go. We should totally do decade like.
Yes.
Our 10s, like our teens, our 20s.
I think that is a good idea. And just be able to like tell our story in small bits, because I know the chunk of your meat is in one decade. But
oh yeah. I mean, a good there's a lot. There's a lot. Don't we all though?
Yeah, I mean we all have seasons where it's like, wow, literally everything went wrong in that time frame.
Yeah.
And it was like the season of the most growth and the darkest times and the most painful experiences. And then it was like, oh, okay, I like came out of that alive.
Yeah.
Like, the worst things happened to me and I'm okay.
And I kind of like me more now than I ever have.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think there's like a joy that comes from experiencing the worst things and being able to say like, I like that I went through that. I don't like what I went through, but I like that I went through that.
I like who I am because of it.
Yeah. And there's, I think that's kind of like, this is a nice wrap up. That's kind of the part of anxiety that people aren't, there's not like a light at the end of the tunnel for some people.
Yeah.
It's like, I have anxiety. I'm bedridden. I can't find a medication that works. And there's no shame in any of those things.
Yeah.
Like, take the medication. Stay in bed when you need to. Like,
yeah.
There's no shame coming from either one of us in that. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. That darkness, you spring forward. You bloom. You, whatever you want to, analogy you want to make, it comes and you start growing. You still have a root of anxiety or depression, but you can create something
beautiful out of it.
Yeah, and so I think finding what works for you, what system, what amount of sunshine and nutrients and activity,
and being flexible to shift and change and pivot when you need to.
Yeah, because I heard someone once say, if a flower is not blooming where you put it, do you get mad at the flower or do you change its environment? It's like, change. Like, obviously, you change up the environment. Like, that's just how that works. And so, if taking medication helps, take it. If going outside on hikes helps, do it. Like, find what works for you. So, I think that's kind of the thing that I wanted to be able to encourage people with is, if there's light at the end, you just gotta find like the internal like wherewithal to
gumption
to keep going. Like, don't just give up. Don't just lay down and rot. Like, have your days.
Yeah.
And reach out to someone. Like, I had a friend call me last night, and I mean, I told her last night. I didn't tell her that I was going to talk about it, but I'm not going to divulge any information. But I told her when we got off the phone, I said, hold on a second. You are not a burden. I said, when I get off this phone call, the weight of this phone call is not going into my house. I said, I'm sad for you because you feel this way, but I do not worry about what you're worried about, because the person I know is not going to actually act on those intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, I'm glad you called me. And we talked for like an hour and a half. And it was just really nice to have that conversation. But it's like, you didn't burden my night. I'm not going to be sleepless because of it. I'm not going to, if I was, I would have told you to get professional help. It's like, there's no burdening your friends. Well, the burden comes is when you don't tell your friends what's happening.
Yep.
And then something happens.
And no one knew.
They didn't. Yeah. And no one knew, and no one was able to walk with you in a scary time.
Yeah.
So
I know for me, I appreciate like the vulnerability and the like, hey, this is really hard. Like, I have a couple of groups of friends that like will lay down the heavy, and like we joke that we basically take turns, and it's not intentional, but like just how life is.
I think that's how friendship is.
Yeah. Yeah, we just take the turn of like, hey, I'm having a really crap day. Can you just
like, this is my Tuesday.
Yeah. Can you give me the like cheer up response? Ironically, two of the friends are people I also met through the podcast. And
I haven't met them, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And I talk to them almost daily on Marco Polo. And there's days where I'm like, hey, can you just give me that like coach pep talk again? Like, please and I get the, you're doing great. You can conquer this. Like, we got, like, we're behind you. We support you. Go for it.
Yeah.
Literal line today in one of the polls is, go get him, Tiger. I'm like, hey, thanks.
That's funny. But sometimes you need that, and being able to reach out to people and because talking to them probably helps, but you were able to express like, I just need a little encouragement. I know I'm going to be fine. I just need a little like pat on the butt.
Yep. And I think that's another thing, like when you become aware of your anxious thoughts, being able to voice your own needs, because I sucked at that for years. And being able to say like, hey, you know what, I really need whatever it is, and sit with yourself and go, okay, what is it that I need?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And then go get it, whether it's encouragement or a drink of like water, not like
No, I know,
don't
not
go
a drink. A drink.
Yeah.
With an
Not like
I.
yeah. Well, like not like vodka or like, I mean, not that that's bad, but like maybe not
In
for
those
anxiety.
moments, yeah. In that
Yeah,
moment, maybe
in
drink
that
some
moment.
water and
Drink some
see how you're
water,
feeling.
chamomile tea, something like
Yes.
that. And then, keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Because it does get better.
I did. The girl that I talked to last night, she's like, how did you deal with this? Like, how did you? And I'm like, I think it came when I was trying to give my kids a voice for their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn because it's like, oh, my stomach hurts. Does your stomach hurt? Do you feel sick? Are you hungry? Have you had anything to drink? Have you pooped? Like, are you scared? And it's like all these things you have to go through as a mom. It's like, okay, hey mom, hey self, let's run that checklist for you. And then it's like, oh, I'm feeling nervous. I drank too much caffeine. I need to go to the bathroom. It's like, oh, okay. And so you start like putting words to your feelings like you do with kids, and then all of a sudden you're much more self-aware. I'm not always self-aware, but there are days where I'm like, okay, I am like sweating profusely. I'm nervous beyond belief. What is in the world? What is happening? And it's like, okay, I have 10 things on my to-do list. 3 of them priorities. 7 of them I added this morning because I have 3 priorities. It's like, just stop.
Yeah.
Drink some water, not caffeine.
Yep.
Go sit in the sun for 10 minutes.
Yep.
Get your priorities right, and then go after it. Yep. And it's like that. That's what I have to do some mornings. It's like I literally just stand in my backyard in the sun and just stand there. And my kids are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just getting a little sunshine. And I'm going to go inside and get some stuff done.
Yep. Like, okay. I go stare at my plants.
I just imagined you being like,
you should see me. Maybe I'll make a reel of it at some point.
I love gardening. It's been so good for me. So
yeah.
Okay.
We're really
I know. I think I'm gonna. I love it. This is so good. This makes it so much easier than doing it by yourself. Okay, do your intro. I'll do mine, and then I'll figure out how to like make it look nice.
All right. Should I just read it?
You can read it, or you can just like shoot from. I'm gonna shoot from the hip.
All right. So since we've already said that I'm Lauren, should I like just do it all, and that way if you want to like cut it?
Yeah, do it all.
Okay.
That way if I figure out how to cut it.
I believe in you.
I believe in me too.
So, hey, I'm Lauren. I'm a homesteading mom of 5 boys. See,
it feels so weird scripting.
It does!
Because you're like, it is you. Like, if you were surmising yourself, that's 100% that's you.
That's totally me.
But also, like, Lauren stares at her plants when she has anxiety, so.
That's also me.
She just said that.
So, basically.
How about this? Huh. Your name is Lauren.
My name is Lauren.
You have 5 boys. Mm-hmm. What do y'all do with your land?
We are working on homesteading and building out a farm.
Okay. What kind of farm?
It grows all the time. We are currently working on doing sustainable meat sourcing. So right now we're starting with chickens and turkeys. And then our goal this summer is to grow probably about 50% of our vegetables and fruit.
That's amazing.
It may not be quite that much because we don't have our orchard going yet. And then basically everything I had planned as a young person is we've ended up on completely different. It's been chunked out the window. Mm-hmm. I wasn't going to live stateside. I wasn't going to get married. I wasn't having kids, and I sure as heck wasn't homeschooling them. And here I am doing
homesteading.
You're not even home.
You're homesteading. You're not just homeschooling. You're homesteading, which is like a whole like top tier homeschool.
Yeah, like I'm doing it all, and because my life is so diametrically opposed to what I thought. My blog and Instagram is nothing like I expected because I catch myself saying that about my life all the time.
Yeah. So my story is similar. I was going to get a van back in the 2000s. I wanted to
before it was cool.
Yes, before it was cool. Like legitimately, I wanted to be a travel photographer and take pictures of like abandoned farms and sell the books with like stories about what we were doing. and not have kids. And if I had kids, I was going to homeschool them and travel the world.
Okay, yeah.
And then I got married at 20, which is so young.
I was a whopping 21, so
I look back and I'm like, geez, but I also wouldn't discourage anyone getting married young. Either. Like, there's so much that comes in growing up together if you push through what comes up.
Yeah, push through.
Yeah, because, both of our marriages could have ended. Probably around
multiple
the same
times over. Yeah, and many times over, for me at least.
Yeah, and so it's like, but it's like you grew up together.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, not just in age, but as people, in maturity, in your walk, in all the things. So got married really young, had Jason. Oh, I was not going to say my kid's name, whatever. Had him. We've moved 9 times. This is our current house is our 9th address. We're in Parker County. I didn't think we'd be there. Actually refused to even look at houses here the first 4 times it was recommended to me. Yeah. And we're here, and I just, like, I feel like it's exactly where we're supposed to be.
I love that.
It's like, I'm not where I thought I was going to be. My life doesn't look anything like I thought it was going to, but it's exactly what I need it to be. Yeah. And in time, it'll change. It'll shift. It'll do something different, but it's each new part of the path is like, I look back and have regrets, but it's like, we shouldn't have sold that house because we made $5,000 on a house one time. Like, how do you make $5,000 on a house in an economic boom? Like, the good one. It's like, because anyways, it's a whole other thing. So I'm Leslie, and I have like 15 things that I'm doing right now. I'm homeschooling. I have vintage and retro stuff that I resell. I have a yard that I'm repairing because it's a new build yard, and so I'm just trying to get it to not be dead. I have homestead goals, but I don't have land, so they're micro homesteads.
Hey, not be dead and micro homesteading is great. There's a lot you can do.
Yeah, I'm learning there's a lot you can do with a little bit of space. So yeah, we're just, 2 random girls who met on the internet. We ended up being way more alike than we ever thought we would be.
Yeah, and what's great is, growing up, we were told, don't meet people on the internet.
And there's still some people I don't want to meet on the internet.
No, absolutely. But some of my closest and dearest friends are internet people.
Yeah, because there's almost like this necessity to be upfront right away.
Yeah.
Like, or it's a complete sham. Like, there's kind of 2 folds to it. And I feel like I don't really have time to be a sham. Like, I just need you to know who I am right away. Like, it's just going to be what it is. And I think that's what I liked about our first time meeting is you were like, I have a ton of food. Y'all eat it. And my kids were like, she brought watermelon. Can I have some? I was like, sure. And we didn't talk about the weather. We talked about, like, our marriages. And, like, the real deal. And I was like, okay, I like this chick. Like, check. She did not want to talk about how hot she is while she's pregnant. I mean, you were. You were.
God, I was.
Boiling up. But
in August in Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. At 30 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah, that's us. That's what we're doing with She Talks Alot. No niche downness.
Nope.
Just all the random conversations.
As we proved, we do indeed talk a lot.
We do, and I'm so proud of us. Okay, well, I'm going to stop recording now.
Okay.
2 random girls who met on the internet. We ended up being way more alike than we ever thought we would be.
Yeah, and what's great is, growing up, we were told, don't meet people on the internet.
And there's still some people I don't want to meet on the internet.
No, absolutely. But some of my closest and dearest friends are internet people.
Yeah, because there's almost like this necessity to be upfront right away.
Yeah.
Like, or it's a complete sham. Like, there's kind of 2 folds to it. And I feel like I don't really have time to be a sham. Like, I just need you to know who I am right away. Like, it's just going to be what it is. And I think that's what I liked about our first time meeting is you were like, I have a ton of food. Y'all eat it. And my kids were like, she brought watermelon. Can I have some? I was like, sure. And we didn't talk about the weather. We talked about, like, our marriages. And, like, the real deal. And I was like, okay, I like this chick. Like, check. She did not want to talk about how hot she is while she's pregnant. I mean, you were
God,
like,
I was
boiling up, but
in August in Texas. Yeah,
at 30 weeks pregnant.
Yeah,
but so that's us. That's what we're doing with She Talks a Lot. No niche downness.
Nope.
Just all the random conversations.
As we proved, we do indeed talk a lot.
We do, and I'm so proud of us. Okay, well, I'm going to stop recording now.
Okay.